Welcome to Intimate Conversations, where we support you in healing heartbreak so you can live fully embodied, unapologetically, and deliciously free, being exactly who you are. We are sponsored by Magic Mind, my morning elixir that I swear gives me more focus, expands my joy, and puts an extra spring in my step. So, okay, you luscious creature, it is time to get intimate. Hello, you delicious people. Welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations with someone I was instantly drawn to. And then the more I've learned about her, I'm like, well, duh, no wonder we're so instantly connected. So let me tell you about her official bio and then what has happened already since I've met her. And let's get away to the races today, really supporting you in living your most intimate relationship with yourself and how that can just ripple into your love life, your business life, your relationship with your body, and so much more. So this gorgeous goddess, her name is Kass Thomas. You can find more about her at her website, Kass Thomas. All of this will be in the show notes. She's a successful business entrepreneur and communication expert. The depth and range of her career and her life experiences really inspire people to explore more choices and find the changes that they are looking for. And she inspires clients to discover their unique brand of magic. She's a best-selling author, and she guides others to transform the negative into the positive, even in limiting situations. And she's a catalyst for unity and believes there is so much more than that unites us rather than separates us. And so, as I said before, kassthomas.com. I'm going to ask her a little bit about one of her books, 7 Steps to Flawless Communication. I've been devouring Dancing with Riches. And so we're going to talk a lot about those resources for you. And again, please go to her site, kassthomas.com. But just before we started this, I said, are you ready? And then you just went right into your thing. What did you say? Like,
ready like Freddie to rock real steady. Somebody say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Somebody scream. Woo.
I love it. So in all transparency, Kass and I tried to do a recording before. And where were you? In Sicily? The south of Italy or something before?
I think so. That was in August, right? August 18. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And now she's in Brazil and she's from Boston originally. So this woman is a global phenomenon, making a difference all over the place. But here's what I didn't know. And I really appreciate that you sent me this book and your other one as well. I'm a little over halfway through. I had no idea that we had access consciousness in common. There is an energy that I just instantly fell in love with you. But as I was reading, I'm like, oh, that's it. Because what I want us to all dive into more with Kass and learn from her is that we only see, I'm a science geek, I interview all the quantum physicists. We can only see 0.01% of the universe, the matter, the outfit, the table, etc. 99.9% of the universe is energy. And this woman is a master. So we're going to learn a lot about the power of this energy in, as, and through you in your life. So welcome. It is so good to be with you.
Thank you so much. I love that, in, as, and through you. I love that. That's such an amazing energy. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I've read your book, but I think it would serve everybody if we had a little background of how you got to be this global, incredible communications expert and helping people make such a difference in their lives. Yeah, give us, how did it all begin?
Wow. Well, I was born.
Yes.
Now you've got me, every time I say something, now you've got me thinking of a song. And a street fire hurricane, doom, doo, 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 doo.
I love you. You're so fun.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. I mean, you're reading the book, so you're actually the Dancing with Witches, which is like a how-to book, like all the different areas of our lives, and
Yes.
using my life experiences, right? To show people how sometimes you fall down. You feel like you fall down, you fall back, right? But it's more about how often you get up and how to get up, and that how to get up if you fall back, with your relationship and connection with you, with your body, with other people, with money, with your business, and if you're really trying to live life with a purpose or to live it purposefully. And that's what that Dancing with Riches book is about. And, sometimes something happens to us. Something shows up more than happens to us when we're 6, 7, or 8, and maybe we're made wrong for it, or maybe we're, denied the possibility to do that. But not to disconnect from anything that's actually shown up for you. You don't have to let it in. I always say that about cobras. I love those cobra snakes, they're so beautiful.
Mm.
And you don't have to let them into your bed or into your car.
Right.
But as you're, riding by, right? Maybe roll up your window while you're riding by, but appreciate their beauty, and so that you're not disconnecting yourself from anything.
Yeah.
You're just maybe choosing whether or not it's something that's going to work for you or not work for you. And so anyway, there's so much that shows up immediately because we get here on the planet, and then, it's like, whoa, thanks for showing up. Hey, let's go. And some things show up that seem strange. I had in my 3rd grade in elementary school, this gal who kept writing on the board, right? Irish American woman, every morning, good morning, today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in French. And it was before, even though I'm quite young, it was before we were studying any language there. But what popped for me is one day I'm going to move to Paris and I'm going to speak French,
Whoa.
And of course, I grew up in Boston, where universities in Boston, probably the city with more universities in the world. So the idea, my dad, who was always like, you got to go to college, you got to go to college. And then I started studying French in high school. Why are you studying French? Spanish is going to be the 2nd language in this country. If you don't know Spanish, you won't get a job. But I didn't stay in Boston, and I didn't even apply to colleges in Boston. And my high school, the oldest public high school in the United States, Boston Latin School, which had the first woman in the school 50 years ago. I just got that from them. And it's a great,
Wow.
you take an exam to get in, from the 7th grade to the 12th grade together with people. And it's about going to college, either because you can't afford a private school or because you want to support public schools, whatever, the kids go there. And so college was not an option not to go. And I applied. I said, I really would like maybe something more global
Yeah.
than just Boston. So I went to NYU, and
Mhm.
moving to New York from a city with 650,000 to a city with, almost 10 million.
Yeah.
And the college had a junior year abroad in Paris.
Oh, perfect.
Exactly. And I didn't even remember that. That's what I'm saying about whatever goes on. I didn't even actually necessarily remember that about 8 years old, saying that to myself at the end of the year. But my dormitory, roommate, she was
Yeah.
like, hey, you study French. They have a junior year abroad here. I'd love to go to Paris.
Yeah.
Boom. And it came
Done.
back, we're done. Moved to Paris. I had been to Mexico at 11. I had been at 14 to Senegal and with my mom, and at 14 years old. But I had not yet been to Europe,
Mm.
And so, I went and did a junior year abroad, got there, since my dad was like, don't use that as your major in college, French. My dad was like, and I'm so grateful for him. So I did study journalism, broadcast journalism, mass communication, but I did
Nice.
enough so that I could, spend 1 year without studying journalism. I did do it at the Sorbonne
Oh,
University there, one class. But I got to, everybody else who was there, for that junior year abroad had been just studying French. So they spoke so much better. And I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to speak French? I'm not speaking good French. I
yeah.
moved to the suburbs.
Mm.
I moved to the suburbs with a gal who didn't speak any English in her house. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so I had to speak French with her. And it was so funny because her dad was living in Guatemala, or not Guatemala. He was living in St. Martin or something like that. One of these Caribbean places with French speaking, and he came at Christmas and was like so against Americans.
Oh,
Right? And he was like, hey, we wouldn't have been here, we would have, because of Americans, we would have, you came here and during World War II as Americans. And I was like, wow, that's so interesting. I've never been accused of being American, like
yeah,
not really liking Americans. And
yeah,
so, there was a gal there from with me, and she was saying to him, you'd be speaking German if it wasn't for America. And I was like, it was like, wow, so how many times are we so in a structured reality that we're not able to actually receive the gifts of people in our lives, no matter where they're from. So with
yeah.
that global approach to life, it's
Mm,
just it's always opening up more and more for me
mhm.
in the different places that I go. And I, we don't get that we're different because, like you said, we're 99.9% the same,
Mm.
as everyone else. But that little 0.1% difference that we are actually can be a contribution for others to open up and see things in a different way.
Oh, I love this. A couple things I want to go back to, and then let's keep going. I love the difference between being able to be open to things, not disconnect from anything, but you don't have to bring the cobra into your bedroom or into your bed, right? You don't have to receive it into your being, but you don't have to close either. You can put up your window, but stay open. And this is important as we have the conversation about dating and love. Like maybe they're not the right one right away, but you don't have to instantly disconnect, or you can stay open to what the gift is of this date and getting to know this next person and this next experience, or even if they want to bring up something around sexuality, you don't have to instantly close. You don't have to take it on, but you can stay connected. And to me, this is another way of saying intimacy. Can we be
Absolutely.
transparent and vulnerable and honest and connected? And it takes something. To me, it takes like bravery to be able to keep your heart open and still have your own back, still know that you have choice. So keep going as you're sharing your evolution of your life, and as you were learning to stay open, and still receive, but not take it all the way in. Yeah, keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you were talking about access consciousness, Gary Douglas, founder of Access Consciousness. There's the 10 Keys to Total Freedom, right, is a book that they've written. And one of the keys is, the 10th key is no exclusion, right? And so, and this is what we're talking about with those cobras even, right? Is that if you are, afraid of or trying to exclude the cobra, then you would know when you're walking in a forest and there's a cobra around, because you've actually excluded that. And just like you were talking about with intimacy and dating, if there's someone that shows up that you're not really liking something about them, yet don't exclude that, because you will actually recognize that the vibe of that, if someone else shows up in your life and has something similar, even if they are not expressing it in the same way, right? You'll be like, there's something similar about this. And also perhaps it's someone who has everything that is such a great contribution to you, and they do have that as well. So maybe if you haven't disconnected from your having experienced that before, maybe you're actually willing to see it from a different perspective. Wow, I wasn't actually willing or able to, connect with this part of them. Maybe they, go dancing nude on the, in the sea or something, that part you didn't like or something. But how can you see it from a different perspective when there are so many things that actually are a contribution to you,
Yeah.
And usually when we are resisting something,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my goodness, obviously, if I'm resisting this, there must be something here I'm not willing to see at the moment. What is that?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is good. So people, when we talk about including all or no exclusion, we're not saying you have to sleep with everybody or do everything that everybody else does. We're just saying not to close to it, to stay open to the gift in it, the lesson in it, the the possibility in it. And I think it's really going to open, if you're in a relationship listening to this, be able to start seeing the positive or the gift in something that prior would annoy you, perhaps, about your partner. But if you are single and dating, instead of going straight to your head in conclusion, well, that's not on my bucket list, stay open. What else is actually the gift in this? So could you tell us about your relationship journey and how you began to see things differently and stay open, and how that turned into your current situation?
Well, there's also something that is in Access, we call it distractor implants, right? But something that distracts you.
Yeah.
So when you're in resistance to something, right? I mean, there's so many examples of this, but I'll just, give you this example. That's why I started laughing. That came up for me. It's in my 7 Steps book, the steps 6 and 7. So I'm on my way back from Italy and going to America to see my mom. We were just talking about our moms, right? And so I'm in the airport, and I really like including people. I'm not sure if I shared this with you. In New York, there was some moment when I was living there where for some reason people were so against Koreans, right? And so, one of my roommates was from Korea. One wanted to take me to Paris with her, or go to Paris, and the other one was from Korea and spoke no English. And so I know how to say hello and thank you in many different languages, but we always said to her, good morning, hello, in Korean, because that's what she taught us, So 안녕하세요. So at this time in New York, where they were like, against all the Koreans and the little markets that they had, every time I walked in, I would say 안녕하세요. And they would just be so delighted and smiling, and etc. And they taught me how to say thank you, because when I would come to I'd get my little coffee and walk over to pay for the coffee, and they would say 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. They would say it again, and they would say 감사합니다, thank you.
Yeah.
I remember that in Korean, right? Thank you. And so, what is it that is, resistant to us, and actually not a contribution to us, that if we were willing to actually notice that whatever is not nice to us or kind to us or whatever, is there something, if we were not being distracted by that, that would actually be a contribution to us,
right?
That would actually, if we were willing to see beyond that distraction, what would our awareness be? And sometimes people aren't comfortable being comfortable, so they have to get, you get that adrenaline going. You have to get that adrenaline going. You might be running or something like that. So if you're not comfortable being comfortable, then you actually are inviting things that are a little bit aggravating for you in life. So what are those aggravated moments, right? That actually, if you're like, let me breathe, let me, it's lower my barriers, step 3, the 7 steps, right? Expand my zone, step 6, it could get better. So I'm at an airport going to see my mom, really upset. My mom was, not well, and about to leave. And I'm living in Italy. I really like to be kind, to the people. There's a guy, they say the airline says the flight is delayed and we're going to be arriving late. And so I'm like, oh no, I can't arrive late, and I hear somebody, as I'm thinking that, saying it loud in Italian with a huge accent, American accent, talking in Italian with a huge American accent. And I'm like, okay, no, this is not what I'm looking for, right? And I'm like trying to, oh no, I don't have to talk to that guy, do I?
Yeah.
Long story short, we have dinner together, and a great time. We do get on the flight, exchange numbers, and about 6 months later, he calls me in Rome, because he's living in Italy too. He calls me in Rome. He's in Rome with his wife and 2 kids. They're there for, November 1 is the day you go to visit the graves of your parents.
Okay.
And he heard my voice just say hello after
Mm.
6 months. And he said, "Oh my God, Kass, where are you?
Mm.
Tell me where you are. I have to come and see you right now.
Mm.
What's the matter with you?" He
Mm.
comes to see me for 10 minutes. I get out of my office. I come to see him. And he said, "What happened to you?" And I said, "What do you mean? I'm fine." He said, "No, you are not fine. We spent, 2 hours together. This is not your voice. This is not who you are. What is going on?"
Yeah.
And I was at an uncomfortable situation working with someone who was very, abusive to the people working, not physically abusive actually to her partner. She had smacked him once at just really anxious, this gal. And it wasn't fun for me. I loved, loved, loved the what we created, which was international film festivals.
Mm.
But he taught me this thing with Qigong, which in the 7 steps, it's a little different than Qigong, about expanding your zone and connecting with the earth. An
Okay.
exercise that took us 5
Mm.
minutes.
Mm.
And it changed my approach to that business, to that woman, to life. I did leave after 10 years working 4 months a year, I did leave it. And the moment I left it, I got 3 calls for doing television festivals, 3 times as much money, 5 years working with them in Rome, and just changed my life. Now, if someone annoys you in an airport, by the way they talk, by their voice, whatever, and you actually don't allow that to stop you to see what is beyond, what will it create in your future? So it might be somebody, a partner. It might be an intimacy thing. It might allow you to approach life in a very different way. And
Mm.
that's what, with the 7 steps, you have to first connect with you,
Mhm.
and know you cannot get you wrong,
Mhm.
and know what is is a unique brand of magic. Listen to your body, let your body show you how and what is going to create something greater. And then
Mm.
disconnect from who you are not, you know? Don't ever disconnect from who you are. It's the
Right.
second phase, so that you can reconnect with people in a completely different way and with yourself very easily. Because
Mm.
sometimes you're disconnected. If you've first connected with you, you have a route back to you, a quick zoom back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, this might be a lovely segue to take us through the 7 steps, because, and maybe do it in the airport with the gentleman. So there he is, and you're like, you could have contracted and disconnected from him and yourself and gone in your head and all the rest of it, but you connected with the unique brand of magic that you are. And so take us through the steps as that occurred, that actually led to the dinner, that then 6 months later, and then the job, and then all the magic that unfolded. Because some of us
Exactly.
just said, screw him, let's just go to the bar. Right?
Yeah. Well, the wonderful thing, and this is, in those workshops with the 7 steps, the wonderful thing is, in a book, you need to write things in an order, right? And so, the first phase about connecting with you, so many people to ask about how is it that, you connect with so many people around the world, and in different languages and different cultures,
Yeah.
and races, and even animals, and invisible friends. So
Nice.
and can you show us how to do that? And the first steps in connecting with others is first connect with you. Because
Yes.
sometimes we get so distracted, or we feel wrong, or we think someone's better than us. Well, they can only be better at being them, right?
Right.
But what
Yeah.
is our way of doing something that maybe they do, but in a slightly different way? And you can't get you wrong. You never can,
Yeah.
and so connecting with you, that first phase, connect, is about recognizing what is it that you do that it may be the same as other people do, but there's something a little bit different in the way you do it, in the
Mhm.
way you talk, in the way you walk, and you know what I mean, in the way you chew gum, right? As we
Uh-huh.
say. But what is different about that? and the way you do it. And so just and you know, show me the magic is that first step. You know, and sometimes you might need to ask, you know, God, Allah, Buddha, Shiva, the universe, the angels, the trees, the birds, the bees. Show me the magic. Will you show me my magic? What's unique and different about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And yeah, and so really playing with that in different ways, just saying it a bit, and then connecting with your body. So many times there's lots of, you know, religions that get that being in a body means, oh my gosh, I didn't get it right the last time, you know, I was here on the planet, if you believe in, you know, different uh, lifetimes.
yes.
And so a lot of times, or you think you're too skinny, or you're too fat, or you're too short, or you're too light, or you're too dark, or you get, you know, not enough hair, or you get, you know, too many pimples, or all of that. But there's, you know, if you begin a dialogue with your body instead
Mm.
of a monologue where you're telling your body, you know, why do you look so old? Why do you look so this? You know, why do you do this? Then it is a conversation
Yeah.
that there will never end.
Mm.
And there is so, you know, much of a continual dialogue with your body that it allows you to really have so many ways to get back to you because you remember that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I mean, I remember the first time when I had did, you know, these energetic body work that I do, this
Yes.
energetic body work that I do. And I remember not being connected with my body, like
Right.
asking my body to receive it, and and it didn't. And so really taking that journey back to you so
Yeah.
that you connect. And I remember the first time I felt this movement in my solar plexus. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I having a heart attack? What's going on? What's going on? And it was like, no, I'm actually really connected with
Mm.
my inner body, you
Mm.
know, not just my inner self and my mind and my spirit, but I'm actually hearing, feeling, perceiving my body.
I remember the part when you were saying you did this, the energetic session, and your body was like, no, I'm not going to receive. What was it? And you made the demand. What was it that began to open your, so that you could receive your body, you and your body could have communion? What did you discover was in the way?
Well, you know, making a demand of what it is that is essential to you
Mm.
know, because I don't care what it takes.
Mm.
Whenever I am talking to my body,
Yep.
if it's not if I'm not connected and willing to hear what my
Yep.
body is saying, if
Yep.
I'm just deciding it for it, that doesn't work for me, you know, because it's my lifelong friend. It's our lifelong friend. It's what's
Totally.
always with us. And that sixth sense, you know, that intuition that we have, right?
Yes.
It that's, you know, our bodies give us that. There's so much of in our bodies, you know, space, water, you know, molecules, that oops exists outside of our bodies as well. So
Mm.
it's like our cousins and our friends. So if we're not really connected with our family that's
Right.
all around us, right?
Yeah.
Then we think we're alone, but you know, we never have been, we never will be. So what is that? That's present in our lives, and like we're talking about, if you would, like, you know, work or jobs or family or relationships, who is it that's in your life that's right in front of you, laid out for you on a silver platter? But if you're not connected with you to acknowledge what's in line with your vibration, you know, that's
Yeah.
showing up in your life and that's there all the time, you
Mm.
know, then how much are you going into the wrongness of you? How much are you continually, you know, seeking what's already there and
Mm.
not trading for the future? So when I did perceive that and was initially trying to identify it as something else for a couple of seconds, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that is so familiar to me, you know,
Connecting
and
with the
it
body.
seems new. Yeah,
Mhm.
it seems new, this connecting with my inner self, you know, my inner body, my inner vibration.
Mm.
And it seems new, but it's something so old. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so there's a moment, like I said to you, you know, at 6 or 7 or 8, you know, that we start trying to fit in.
Yes.
or and align and agree with people, and therefore not align and agree with ourselves, align with ourselves, or, disregard people or disregard ourselves,
Yes.
So really, when your question about, what is it that got you to do that, just demanding it thankfully,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And and then receiving it, and it's a continuous journey. It really is.
mm, mm. Thank you. You came into my life and access back into my life at a perfect time when I'm doing a lot of I'll call it like integration work of traumas in the past. And the modality is asking me to wear a blindfold and just let my body lead. No chit chat, no story, not even any beliefs, just body sensation, emotion, body sensation, emotion, and literally let my body recapitulate what happened at 6, 7, 8, so that it could do what it never got to do, say what it never got to say, express what it never got to express, and let it go all the way back to home. And I'm floored, fascinated. This thing doesn't remember a lot. This thing has disassociated, left, whatever, left my body. The body remembers everything. And I'm having compassion. I'm witnessing, I'm surrendering. And my body is just this mad. Sometimes it's really uncomfortable. And there's like stuff stuck in my tendons that needs to move its way out. And other times it's just, I mean, I've got a pretty strong abs, but like I'm doing these positions. I'm like, I'm not doing it. My body's doing it. And I'm having deepening of homecoming with my sweet body in a way that, even though I've been a dancer since I was 5 and I've done a lot of different body processes and I guess you're ready when you're ready, but wow, the homecoming of a whole new level is what I'm experiencing right now. So I know that you coming in my life is enriching all of this, just being body to body, even though you're in Brazil and I'm in Wyoming. There's no separation,
Yeah.
right? The energy of this conversation when people are listening is an invitation to what we're dancing with and the conversation that we're expressing, and Kass's books and all the rest of it. So thank you. As you received more awareness and had more connection with your body, I'm very curious because people watching or listening are very much into there's an like an ache to connect with another in a way that they know is possible, but they just don't know how to get there. And for me, when you were saying before, if you've disconnected with another, you'll disconnect with yourself. And if you can open to another, you can open with yourself. We know the inside and the outside are connected. So as you more deeply connected with your body, what happened to your weight? What happened to your sexuality? What happened to the men in your life? Like how did it start to look different on the outside because it was different on the inside?
Absolutely. Well, that disconnecting, what you were saying is that one of the awarenesses that came up is when once you've connected with you, and some people
Yeah.
haven't in a while, or, in many years. Once you've connected with you, you begin to recognize when you're disconnected from you,
Yeah.
when you've got walls or barriers or resistance up of someone. And that is a great thing. It's not a wrongness. It may actually be an awareness, right? That somebody else, your body might be giving you that sixth sense,
Right.
because of wow, somebody else might be rejecting themselves,
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about communicating with people, once you recognize either you're putting up walls or barriers and disconnecting from them, or you can ask your body, is this mine? Right? Is this
Right.
something? Is this mine? Is this an awareness that I have, buddy? What are you telling me here with
Yeah.
this not disconnection, right? And it might have to do with someone else. And so how to approach them in a
Mm,
different way,
mm,
because if somebody has walls or barriers up, it's probably not about you.
yeah.
We're so often so busy criticizing, judging ourselves, disconnecting from ourselves, that it has nothing to do with the other person. We're way too busy. Hello, disconnecting from ourselves. So
Right.
how is it that you can how is it that if you would like to connect with them, how is it that you can connect with them in a different way if
Mm,
that's how they're how they're approaching the communication with you in that moment.
Yeah.
So first connecting with you and lowering your barriers, right? Then you can actually be the invitation for them to lower theirs as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
And I just I love that that dancing with Riches song I did it with a guy, Simba. We call it Kasimba's thing. And he was, he's an American guy. He's been living in Italy for so long. And I saw him when I saw him playing as a DJ in a restaurant. I was like, oh my goodness, I love this music. And I went up to him. He had so many barriers up. And how did I get, connected with him? Lowering my barriers. He was like a little bit strange because when people have their barriers up, then you're trying to push them down.
Sure.
Their barriers down to get to reach them. But if you're doing it in a different way,
Yeah.
then you can actually get them to be a bit curious. And the moment they're curious, you have a door opening.
Yes.
So, and you're not disconnecting from you. You're actually connecting with your true self, your true genius. And I do that access your communication genius specialty class about how do you really connect with your unique genius and really use whatever has gone on in your past, whatever's going on in your present, to create a future that actually works for you in a different way.
So the DJ guy, you connected with you, you lowered your barriers, and I'm sure you did the same thing with the guy in the airport, the Italian American who was all upset. You noticed that you were like, oh God, that's not what I want. And then instead you chose to connect with you and lower your barriers. What is the next step that supported the DJ guy and the Italy guy and whoever else you've been connecting with?
Well, a lot of times, I mean, this, what we sort of do, sometimes we put on a mask and hi, I'm Kass, I'm like, a communications expert, and I'm really, going to university and traveling around the world, and that's a mask, right? But there's something a little bit more subtle than a mask, and you probably know about it, and it's not a quick conversation, but just a little tip. And I call it's step 4, it's going beyond the veil.
Nice.
Which is, now you see me, now you don't, and so often we're trying to be, we are visible because we're in physical bodies, but we don't want people to see us so closely and so clearly, because because also we're may not be sure of the kindness that we are, and we may somehow think that we're not really as kind as we are truly inside. And so that's an invitation for people to really recognize how their kindness shows up, in what way. And so go beyond the veil is not having to put on any mask, not having to be in any certain way, and to be quite visible. And it's so rare, especially nowadays, especially, we will meet up physically sometime if I have to come to Wyoming, or if you have to, but especially with this, technology and stuff, we can, put up a background scene or whatever it is that we need to do, but not really be present. So in that going beyond the veil, you actually are able to be seen in a different way, and you actually see others in a different way. Totally. Because not only is that veil something that keeps you a little comfortably, distant, from people, but also keeps them comfortably distant from you. So, you don't have to absorb anything in you, but if you're willing to actually see them for who they are and see you for who you are without any judgment, it's just
right. It's getting yummier as we're on step 4. I'm feeling it. It can be, I'll use the word intense, because that level of transparency and presence can stir up a lot of energy. I guess we can say it can be intense, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. And so much is possible. Oh, all of a sudden I can't hear you. You're muted all of a sudden, love.
I'm sorry. It's absolutely not. Yeah.
There we go.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So what happens with step 5 after we've gone beyond the veil?
Nice question. Well, that first phase is about connecting with your magic, your unique brand of magic, your talking with your body, communicating with your body. Step 3 and 4, lowering the barriers and going beyond the veil, is part of that disconnection phase, knowing how you disconnect and not disconnecting from who you truly are, but disconnecting from who you are not. And so that you can reconnect is that step, is steps 5 and 6 of the third phase. And it's called engage, step 5, engage. So you engage the universe, engage with others. And in the 7 steps book, I love to, share an access tool, consciousness tool with people. And so there's a great tool called creating energy flows. And I talk a lot about that in my Access Your Communication Genius, and I believe also in the Dancing with Riches. But really what that step 5 is about is to acknowledge and recognize that you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's so many people and things that you can engage with when something is not showing up for you. If you're religious, and it's God or Allah or Buddha or Shiva or the Messiah, of the future, it's if not, it can be the trees and the birds. For me, I gotta tell you, birds, when I am engaging, right, and really looking for different things, when I've reconnected, a bird always flies by. It is hysterical. It's hysterical. Come on. It really is hysterical. I mean, it's not, like a spiritual thing. The birds, I just start laughing. You know what I mean? I was in Moscow. It was freaking freezing. It was freezing. And so I was like, in the morning I went out, how can I, engage the universe and connect? And I was like, I know there won't be any birds. These birds flew by. It's like, come on, it's so freezing. How did they? Right, exactly. It's just funny. So however that works for you, and seeing things. So engage the universe, knowing that you're not alone. You never have been, you never will be. And if you've done those first 4 steps, if you walk through those, then you will indeed receive a contribution from something or someone will show up, right? And if you don't have any barriers up or anything, what you've been asking for in the, in the world for, demanding of yourself, it will show up. If you've got barriers and you're locked in, behind a veil or on barriers, what you've been asking for shows up, sure, but how's it going to get to you?
No,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, hello, they're knocking on the door and the barriers are like, sorry, they're not as smart as you, sorry, you can't come in because, we've got these barriers up. Yeah, but she's been asking for me. Yep, but your name's not on my brick.
Wow. Yes, it's so true. So just a question about this stage. I call it making love with the universe. Like, I'm like, what do you got for me today? Penetrate me. And I penetrate the universe, and we play and we dance. And it's a different point of view that allows for delight in the unexpected, the mystery. I begin to literally dance with the mystery when I have that point of view. And I've also had experiences where this engaging with the universe, I'm afraid stuff comes up, like who's going to hurt me? Who's going to take advantage of me?
Exactly.
Like, I usually go back into an old pattern, afraid to trust the universe. And so I totally agree that these first 4 steps are required so that the engaging with the universe, the energy can flow and it can be delicious. But what would you say to the listeners and the viewers who are like, I don't know if I trust God. I don't know if I trust you.
No, I mean, the universe, it's whatever your beliefs are, believe in you. Believe in you. And when you're connected with you, you're actually truly connected with you without any walls or barriers up. You are actually an invitation for what you have been asking for to be visible. And I love the way, Alana, that you were saying that. I love to engage with the universe. I don't know if you saw yourself, but you were looking up.
Oh, was I?
And so you were looking up. Doesn't mean you were looking at the sky or the moon or the stars, which are really lovely, but you were not looking down. And that when we are not feeling good about ourselves, we're sometimes looking down, we've got our head down and we're like this. So it's just about engage engaging, look up and see what it is that's showing up for you. You know what I mean? It just don't look down. You can look up, meaning even look in front of you. Look to your right, look to your left, look behind you.
Yeah.
And, you know, and look up, look down, look all around. And
Oh,
that engaging the universe is really actually about being willing to see things from other people's perspectives as well, you know, because sometimes it seems like someone is being pushy or someone is being resistant or somebody is being really needy of you. And this is where the energy flows go in. Look at it from their perspective. What is it that instead of going into reaction, well, you don't have to talk to me like that. I wonder what this is. I wonder what this is. What is it that's going on with them? You know, and maybe even if it's a business meeting or if it's a relationship, you might just want to pause for a moment and say, "Hey, how was your morning?" Which is different than, "Hi, how are you?"
True.
"Oh, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?" Right? "How was your morning? Is everything okay? Anything I can get you? Would you like a cup of coffee?"
Yeah.
Or whatever. "No, I don't like coffee." "Okay, would you like some tea, or you want to sit for a moment in silence, or, you know, are you okay? Can we continue our conversation?" Or, you know, just to be willing to see things from other people's perspectives and to reconnect with them, with people from a different perspective. Yeah. And whatever is going to work. And what I talk about in communication is to have clarity about what it is that you would like your communication with someone to be. If it's a sale, if you're a salesperson, if it's, you know, a love affair, if it's, you know, someone that you're interested in, if it's your child and you don't want them to feel badly, you know, we're doing 7 Steps Kids program too. It's like, how is it that you'd like to engage with them? And that like I said before, it's just about knowing that you're not alone. You can do it all on your own, but you don't have to. Isn't
Yeah.
that cool? Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Tell them about the energy flows, Kass. So then you're aware that I even remember yesterday. So I'm on a big property with lots of horses, and the guy that came by for the horses, normally he texts me to see if I'm going to be free to say hi or if I'm on calls. But he was very, very short. Not normally he does emojis. He didn't do any emojis. And when he got here, I was aware that he was a little more head down. And I got curious, like you said, rather than take it personally. And it turns out he had a really bad headache and his arm was hurting him and he was on the way to the doctor. And he goes, "Wow, you sensed something was up and you asked enough questions." And I'm a little scared because the headache hasn't gone away for a couple of days. So I was able to, in the past, what did I do wrong? Or, it must be me, or he doesn't like me anymore, or what did I do to piss him off? Like I would have gone in all these different scenarios, but I brought myself back in, connected with me, and I read the energy of the text. I'm like, something's up. Let's just be present and be curious about it.
Exactly.
So that's a little baby example. Tell them about how
But that's not a baby example, darling. Please acknowledge your magic. We're talking about the 7 steps. Just acknowledge your magic, right?
Okay, I'll acknowledge my magic.
And what a contribution is that to someone?
Oh, he felt cared about.
Yeah. Absolutely. And maybe it gets lighter, whatever's going on with him, or he's actually willing to handle it and address it in a different way, you know? So these energy flows, a lot of times it's what we do them naturally. However, when we're talking about, and that's why I use that, the creating energy flows, the access tool, in this step about reconnecting with people, engaging people, we do it naturally. Somebody's being pushy with us, we push back, you know, or we fall down, right? One or the other, right? That's a reaction. But if you're actually engaging with the universe, they're being pushy, they're being resistant. How can I actually invite something different here? And so whatever you consider as a reaction, someone's pushing, push back. No, pull. And not just from them, from engage the universe is pulling from behind, right, all over. You know, what is it that helps them? If it's Kass, you know, let me connect with the birds, right? But if it's somebody else, if somebody with the horses, oh my gosh, the horses are amazing, amazing. And so what horse can I connect with that would actually help me to see a way of allowing him to have more ease with him? self. And yeah, and I just wanted to say that my mom was in love with birds, in love with birds. And once I was in South Africa on a bush ride, that's what they call it, safari rides in South Africa, bush ride. And I didn't want to go. It was early in the morning, and so I was like, okay, I had been already like 5 days, and I go, and of course, there's no animals, no animals. And I'm like, oh, I'm a little, it's 5:30 in the morning, and why did I have to get up, and etc. But I did ask my body, and my body said yes. And then I was like ready to, okay, I won't go into the wrongness of my body. Okay, fine. And then I'm like, there's so many birds around though. There's no lions or anything, but there's so many birds around. I say to this guy finally, and he's silent at 5:30 in the morning. I said, my mom would have loved to have been here with me. And because she loved birds so much. And so we're riding and it's silent. And he said to me, is your mom here with us energetically?
Yeah.
My heart expanded, my breathing changed, and at that moment, all the animals came out. The lions started running by, the elephants. It was hysterical. And that's what that step 6 is, reconnecting, is expanding your zone and communicating with your furry and invisible friends. That's what the step 6 is called, and that was from that guy I met at the airport, who was like, how do you reconnect with you, expand your zone when you feel contracted, when you're annoyed, as why did I do this, why did I choose it? There's no mistakes, right? There's no coincidences. You either learn something, right? Like that this amazing soccer player said, I never lose, I either win or I learn something.
That's
yeah. So so that expanding your zone is also another level good for your physical body. Sometimes people have collapse inside and they have panic attacks and stuff like that. So it's also physical expansion of your zone, reconnecting with you. It helps you actually your core not collapse, your heart not give up on you in many different ways, emotionally, and also sometimes physically it can be as well. Beautiful. And so that you can establish true connection, which is that 4th phase, and just one step, connect with the earth. The planet, because you know what, we chose to be here.
Totally.
We chose to be here, and we are here. And if you know that you're home here on planet Earth, then you realize that everyone has the same home as you. And so you never feel out of place. And so you, whether you speak the same language, whether you're physically in the same location, whenever you go someplace new, you're like, hi, wow, what's here and what's different? And I've been in Brazil like maybe 4 or 5 times, I don't know, but it's something new today. My first day here, this year in 3 years. And it's in the Southern Hemisphere. And it's very different than the Northern Hemisphere, where I spend most of my time. And so how is that in your body? It's opposites attract, and so it's, in Access we say pod and pock, but maybe here they say pock and pod. They might just say it different, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't at all. It's just different ways of approaching life. So knowing that, and when you have that, it's something, your body is physically here. And yes, we can engage the universe. Yes, we can, look at the stars, and love the moon and all of that, and the sun. And we're here. So please do not abandon being physically present here, and emotionally and mentally, and, and spaciously present here, because it's such a contribution to the grass you walk on, to the people you walk by in the street. And they're like, I don't know why I'm feeling good today, whether you know them or stop and talk to them or not. It's just great. And that is your flawless communication, really.
Oh, so yummy. So yummy. Um, I'm feeling the delight of living that way.
Yeah.
And you were saying, and you're never alone. I think that's when people are seeking relationship or the relationship is feeling wobbly. It's very easy to feel alone. And this process, and I still want to ask what is number 7?
Connect with the earth.
That's the 7. Yeah. Connect with the earth. Thank you.
Yeah. And the phase is called establish true connection. Yeah.
Thank
Gary
you.
Douglas, the founder of Access, gave me that title for the 4th phase because I asked him about, listen, this is my 7 steps. This is step 7, and I've got the 3 phases.
Yeah.
But what would you call this 4th phase? And he said, well, what is the step? And I said, it's connecting with the earth.
Yeah.
He said, well, that's establishing true connection.
Yeah.
So, I love it.
Oh, this is beautiful. So heart math, and I was able to lead a guided meditation at their annual conference a couple of years ago. And I just love when my intuition or what I've learned from Access, then a scientist can go and show me another way. It's just fascinating to me that when we're coherent, so our heart is open in appreciation, compassion, that they measure it. And it's the same vibration as the earth and the same vibration as the field. So we're all one. We're all one.
Absolutely. And in the workshops, that's what I do, that 6 and 7 step together with people, have them do that so that they can actually perceive that in their bodies. And, our vibration, when we're connected with ourselves, we have an awareness of what that vibration is, and we step into our lives, step up and recognize what's unique and different about us, and step out and are able to see the world in a different way and share that vibe with the world. The planet would be different, and that because your mom also, left. It's different without her here.
Yeah.
It's not better or worse, it's just different.
Yeah.
So if you are connected with you and your vibe, it changes the world, Please, are you willing, to be the change that the world has been asking for, and why you chose to come here?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so let's all just feel you've been listening. Things have been arising within you. I assert that there's something yummier, something calmer, something maybe more expansive, and hopefully feeling more connected to you and the planet and the universe and the invisibles and the furries and all that we've been sharing. And just check in. Do you feel less lonely, more connected? And when we show up this way, especially when it comes to relationships, notice how much easier it is to let go of the outcome. Notice that you don't need them to feel enough or no longer alone because you're already home. And I believe that when we're out there dating or reconnecting with our beloved, when we're coming to the situation already connected, already full, it is so sexy and such an invitation for things that you would never have imagined, because there's no more strategy to get anything because you're already good. You're already overflowing. And I imagine this also attracts an ideal partner, should you be single looking for your beloved, or what's next in the relationship that you already have. This is the space in which it will arise. So,
absolutely. I love that. I love your invitation for people. And when you're connected with you, you can just ask, am I being the true me? True yes. Okay. All right, great. And when you're willing to be that connected, you will be the invitation for people to want more of you.
Correct. Oh, I love this. Am I being the true me? Yeah. And if you're not, no shame.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. Right? And go through these beautiful steps. So I want you to get Kass's book, 7 Steps to Flawless Communication. I also invite you to get Dancing with Riches. I also invite you to go to kassthomas.com and just briefly tell them about these courses that you're doing, should they like to take even the next step, love.
Absolutely. Well, I do Access Consciousness courses. and my specialty class is Access Your Communication Genius.
Uh-huh.
And of course the bars and the foundation and body 3-day body classes. And I do 7 steps to flawless communication classes, intros, and 1-day preludes and 2-day explosion classes. And 7 steps to abundance in business, how we do that differently in business. And there are actually teachers around the world in different languages, so it's really cool. And in English, of course. And then my Dancing with Riches is a workshop about seeing different talents you have in business that you haven't really explored. And it's 4 modules what are some of the talents and abilities that you have that would allow you to increase working with projects and business, increase what's vital to you, to be present in your life, to not separate your engagement with work from what is vital to you. So we really play with that, this workbooks for people, and it's recognizing what are the riches of your life, that if you're willing to be in line with the vibration of those, you will be dancing, whether you're moving physically in the dance or just energetically and vibrationally, and just increasing your riches in your world. Yeah.
Delicious. I'm so glad we have met. I'm so honored and privileged that you've been on the show. I'm loving your materials and igniting the times that I've spent doing my access consciousness work. I had let it go for several years. So this feels wonderful to like a
great. Come and play. Yeah. Yes. I would love to see you. And also, if you'd like to come to Rome, Italy, we have a lovely bed and breakfast there, honey, waiting for you. Come and join us.
It's my arm. Yeah. We will meet sooner than later. Absolutely. Yeah. So in conclusion, people, I would talk to her for another hour, but I have another interview in 5 minutes. So we need to wrap up.
Take some water for your body. Your body's asking for a little water.
Thank you. Thank you. But for all of you viewers and listeners, take a moment. There's so much richness in this interview. Take a moment to be still after, maybe journal, maybe go for a walk, maybe meditate, maybe dance. But choose something. Choose definitely to get Kass's books. Choose to go to her website and learn more. But choose something in your life so that this interview literally changed the trajectory of your life because you took the time for you to drink this in and nourish your soul and your contribution on this planet. So we love you. And until next,
love you.
Yeah, we're here for you. All our love.
Thank you. Thank you. Grazie. Obrigada.
Thank you for joining us for another edgy, transparent episode. I want you to be able to do more, stress less, feel happier, like I have with Magic Mind. So for Intimate Conversations listeners, you can get 40% off with my code INTIMATE20 when you go to magicmind.co/intimate. You're going to feel amazing, I promise. Thank you for being who you are. I love the shit out of you. Until next time, I've got your back.